October was an interesting reading month for me. If you want to hear more about it, please keep on watching. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Favor's Flavor. My name is Favor. I'm very excited to see you guys. I hope you guys like this video and I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. So this video is going to talk about my October reading wrap up. I read a total of 8 books and I'm honestly surprised that I read that much because I had the most diverse set of reads in this month. I also had my longest reading slump during this month. And honestly, let's just get right into it. So the first book I read in the month of October was an essay. It's We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is about like a 50-page book. The audiobook is narrated by her. So it's definitely a nice book. It talks about feminism, especially from an African and Nigerian woman point of view. I definitely enjoyed it. You can definitely tell it's a little outdated. Although some of the topics she talked about is stuff that is still being debated about in Nigeria, but as like someone that lives in the Western world, it definitely feels outdated. But still, it's one of those books that you want to read if you want to think more, think deeply, one of those think pieces basically. And I definitely had a good time with it. I rated it 3.25 stars. Not anything like memorable or out of the world, but still a solid book if you're someone looking for that type of book, if that makes sense. So I definitely recommend it. The second book I finished in the month of October was The Full Picture by Jessica Carmichael. So this is an arc that I received from NetGalley. The book actually gets released in about a month, December 1st. It's a YA book, but honestly, it doesn't feel like YA at all. Because if someone like me can actually enjoy that book, I basically rated it 4.5 stars. You know, it was good. It actually mixes a lot of like elements that just makes it so much more than it is. It mixes like grief, coming of age, being an immigrant, the romance and feeling like you have to choose between two men, and just expectations on being a freshman in college, all that kind of stuff. But it's still stuff that can apply to someone like me that's in my 20s. I definitely enjoyed that book. Also, it has elements of Dead to December. If you're Nigerian or African, you know that Dead to December is already on the way, even though it's still November. And for those of you that are going to be going back home, just know that I'm jealous of you and I hope to be visiting soon. Okay, so I definitely recommend this book. If you're in the market for a book like this, please pick it up. You will not regret it. Also, it's a debut book. So the next book I read in the month of October was Fast by Millie Belizaire. This is one of my book club pick, and we all agreed to rate this book at 4.5. I believe I rated it at 4.75, basically at 5 stars. This is a book that I feel like I can reread in like a couple months or a couple years. But please check your trigger warnings before you read this book. It talks about sexual abuse, talks about mental health, talks about a lot of stuff. So that's something that you should definitely take into account. Aside from that though, the author definitely did a good job about like not making this book all about the abuse, not making it all about the romance. Like she added a bunch of stuff, like even her becoming a doctor and being a mental health doctor and helping other kids that were in situations like her. That was really nice to see. Also her friendship aspect. So there was a lot of things in this book that honestly, I hope this author releases more books because this was just a wonderful book. I enjoyed this book. I feel like anything I would tell you could give it away, and this is the kind of book that you should just go into a little blind. And yeah, just read this book if you haven't. If you have it on your radar, pick it up, please. So the next book that I read in the month of October was my lowest rated book and my biggest disappointment so far. And that book is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I believe I rated this book at 2.5 stars. I learned something about myself with this book, that I do not like magical realism. As much as I want to say that I would pick up another magical realism book in the future, I don't know if I will. I don't know if it was just this book or just magical realism in general that just made me not like it. I wanted to DNF this book so bad. If it wasn't for the audiobook that I got from Libby, I definitely would have DNF'd this book. It's like very heavy on the magical realism. It's also heavy on the Harlem Renaissance era. It felt like I was reading like 2 books in one. You go from one chapter that talks about the 50s and the 60s, all of a sudden Ricky's talking about her Instagram post. I couldn't just get the whole being in love or even having intimate relationships with someone that's supposed to be like 100 and something year old but looks like a 28-year-old. I don't know, it just didn't make any sense to me. It's my first Tia Williams book. I hope to, read more of her books in the future. I believe the one that most people like is 7 Days in June. So hopefully I'll be able to try that book and enjoy more of her work, because right now did not like it at all. So the next 2 books that I read in the month of October, I actually have reading vlogs for. I did a lot more reading vlogs and vlogs in general in the month of October, so I hope you guys enjoyed them. I actually have a whole playlist that I'll link in the card above. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on those vlogs. Is that something you guys enjoy, or should I stop it? What are your thoughts on the vlogs? Because I had a good time doing them, and I love fall, so fall is the time period where I usually try to actually go outside and do stuff. So the next book I read in the month of October was Ace of Spades by Farida Ibike Iyimide, and I'll have the reading vlog where I finished this book. I think it was the Billie Eilish vlog, and I actually rated this book at 3 stars. Part of me reading this book was venturing out to other genres. So this is a dark academia book. Since I was new to the genre, I wanted to start with YA, but I feel like maybe I should have just gone in with an adult dark academia book, because this felt a little like juvenile and a little too simple for me. Although the author did include like twists and turns in the book to keep it more suspenseful, but it basically felt more of like a middle of the road book for me. That's why I rated it 3 stars. And I feel like you need to suspend reality just a little bit to like enjoy this book. And the 2 things that I mentioned in that vlog was, 1, I feel like this book could have been like 50 to 100 pages shorter and still would have been a coherent book. Like there was no reason for this book to be like, I think 400 pages. Definitely no reason. The other thing too was both students, Devon and Chiamaka, both of them being black and none of their parents knowing about all of their escapades, especially knowing that they could have gotten arrested and charged with like real stuff, and they did it without any adults' interference, was very like odd to me. Like I said, it's a middle of the road book, not bad, not great. It's the author's debut book, I believe, and I would be open to reading other books by this author. So the next book I read was Clown in the Cornfield by Adam Cesar. This is my first horror book, and this was one that was appropriate for me to get a YA book. Regular adult book, horror books are like worse than that book. I don't think I have any business reading that type of book. However, this book surprised me a lot, and I actually rated this book at 4 stars. There's actually 2 more books in the series for this title, and I'm actually a little intrigued to like check out the other 2 books in this series. This book was very good for being a young adult book, and I highly recommend it for amateurs in like horror books. If you're someone that's just starting out, this is actually not a bad book. It had all the gore and the sex scenes you would expect in a horror book, and it's also on Kindle Unlimited. Even though I got the book from the library, I was able to finish it on my Kindle. If you guys don't know, I finally got a Kindle and I have a video about it. I'll link it in the card above, but definitely check it out if you're someone that's like looking to horror. I know it's November already, but if you're still in the Halloween spooky season era, go ahead and pick that book up. Also, there's a movie adaptation for this book that should be out already if you're someone that wants to like actually watch the movie, because I feel like you would enjoy it more. There were some scenes that I was like, this would be better enjoyed if you were actually seeing it physically. It's not like I was trying to see people get caught off, but I just feel like you could enjoy it more if you're looking at it physically. So the next book I read in the month of October was my other book club's pick, and that book is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this lady's last name correctly, but I will try my best to like pronounce it correctly next time. This book surprised me. I actually went into it thinking, okay, I know I'm not gonna like this book, or I was like, this is probably gonna be one of those boring books. Lies. This book was very interesting. Okay, let me take that back. The first half of this book was a little boring and like, but I was surprised that I didn't really find it boring though. But I've seen a lot of reviews on it, and people are like, I almost DNF'd it. I didn't feel that way. It's a book that's under 300 pages. There's like different point of views from like 5 people. So it's like every chapter it's a different person. The chapters are not that long. Some of them were long, but like some of them were like 2-page chapters. It definitely moves along, but even if you feel that way in the first half, I promise you the last 30-40% of this book would make up for it. I rated this book at 4 stars, and it's one of those books that's like set in unfamiliar places. It reminds me of like Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. Just one of those books. I think it's actually set on an island. It's an actual island the author drew inspiration from that's close to Antarctica. Just like seeing the family dynamics between the Salt family and this woman that like washes up to shore. And that's another thing. This is a book that I feel like I would totally enjoy like a movie series on. It feels like the author just takes you to that place on that island with all the seals and all the animals and all the vegetation and all the seeds. Yeah, I would totally want to see a movie series on this book. I just say go into this book blind. There's not much I can tell you about this book to make you feel like you have to read it or you don't have to read it. I'll just read the short blurb. It says, a novel of breathtaking twist, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love. Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. This book, please read it if you have a chance to. I don't regret reading it. And this is Exhibit A on why you should join a book club. I have a video about that where I told you guys why you should join a book club. And this was me learning from my own advice, where book clubs sometimes will make you read books that you feel like you don't like, but you might end up liking it. So the last book I read in the month of October was The Wilderness by Angela Flournoy. Shout out to my library for this physical book. I also got the advanced listening copy from NetGalley, so that was pretty nice. Honestly, I was supposed to read it in the month of November. If you watched my November TBR, I ended up like moving it up once I got the listening copy because it's also not a big book. This is a book that you could probably finish in like 2 or 3 days. But this book follows 4 friends, Nakia, Monique, January, and Desiree. It also follows Danielle, but she's the sister to Desiree. And I'm actually just gonna read the review that I had on Goodreads because that entails all of my thoughts on this book. So it says, I say, first of all, this is such a beautiful book. It follows 4 friends over 2 decades, and I love how it explored their friendships through all the changes and challenges of life. This might honestly be the first time I've ever wished for a book to have more pages. That said, I think the execution could have been stronger. It definitely had 5-star potential. It was a little confusing at times trying to keep track of all the friends plus one sister and their stories as the timeline jumped around. I especially wanted more from January and Monique's perspective. Their parts felt a little bit rushed. Desiree and Danielle's story could have definitely been a book of its own, which could have given space for more of the friendship to shine. An extra 50 to 100 pages could have easily helped flesh things out. The futuristic aspect towards the end was unexpected but welcome. The story ended in a slightly weird way. I guess I just wanted more. Still, I plan on reading more of Angela Flournoy's writing. I definitely recommend this book to women in their 30s to 40s. So as someone that's in my 20s, I feel like maybe I didn't enjoy this book as much as someone in their 30s or 40s would. But either way, it's such a good book. And seeing how the author talked about 2027 and all that futuristic aspect, it was a little scary, but I'm just like, this is why I feel like she could have added more pages and still have had a good book. Like, this book is under 300 pages. Like, I would have taken 100 pages easily added to this book if she was going to give me more. Like I said, with Monique, I don't even remember much of her story, and she just popped up, and I'm just like, okay, who is she? What's her story? I feel like it really focused on Desiree, Danielle, and Nakia. January and her babies, I feel like I would have liked to have seen more. Yeah, it felt like a short story collection, but it never really felt cohesive as a book. Either way, the topics talked about was really good, and I would like to read more of this author's writing in the future. Hi guys, this is Editing Favor here. So I forgot to mention that I did DNF a book in the month of October, so technically I read 9 books, and that book is The White Hot by Kiara Allegra Hughes, and she's actually a Pulitzer Prize winner. I have not read anything by her, but I was kind of intrigued by the premise of this book, and I would say I was a little disappointed. I end up DNFing at 55% in. This is a novella, by the way, only 170 pages. I was sure that I was gonna finish this. Also, I got it as an arc. This book comes out November 11th, so even though I DNF'd it, I would say if you're interested in epistolary novels, it's basically a letter from a mother to her daughter after abandoning her for 8 years, and the whole book is told as like one letter. It doesn't have any chapters, but I would say about halfway in, it becomes like a diary in a way, and I was like, I couldn't continue reading it. It's like one of the hardest books I've read in my whole reading journey that's only lasted the last like 5 months. The fact that I couldn't finish a novella was just really telling to me, and I tried. I think I read it like over like 2 or 3 weeks. I really did try. I will tell you guys what my review was. I said DNF at 55%. The first 45% of this book was intriguing and different. The last 10% I read was dragging. This book isn't bad, but it's for a specific audience that doesn't include me right now. I'll be open to checking out the audiobook if it comes out with one. It's never taken me this long to read a novella. The language is very specific and intense, and as a newbie reader, I felt like it was a little too much and also not enough towards the middle. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend this book to a newbie reader like me. I still just wanted to talk about it because if you're someone that's like an experienced reader, you might still find something in this book. It's not a bad book. Maybe I would prefer it as an audiobook. That was the one book that I DNF'd in the month of October. Also, I don't know how I forgot to talk about this yesterday. Thank you guys for 500 subscribers. I think I'm at like 508 right now, and honestly, this was a goal for me to hit by the end of the year. So the fact that I was able to meet it 2 months before, I just want to say thank you guys. And for that, I'm doing a giveaway. So sometime during this video, I would put an emoji on the screen. So I hope you guys are watching and paying attention. And the first person to comment that emoji down in the comment section is who I'm gonna pick to get the prize. And that prize right now is a $25 gift card to buy any books. I think like any bookstore of your choice. And depending on how much participation I get, I might increase it to 2 people. So I hope you guys enjoy and please participate. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe because, you know, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers now. And I'm just happy that my effort into continuing this YouTube channel is paying off. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys come back to my next video because I still have a bunch of videos coming for you guys this year. Have a nice day. Bye.